Hello, I'm Duncan Green and I'm the Strategic Advisor at Oxfam. The injustice that Oxfam faces is that there are 1.4 billion poor people in the world living on less than $1.25 a day, and there are exactly the same number, 1.4 billion, of overweight and obese people who have got too much food. And there's a kind of fundamental system problem in a society that produces equal numbers of people who eat too much and eat too little. So Oxfam sees its role as trying to correct that basic injustice, and we can end poverty just as previous generations ended slavery or ended the exclusion of women from the vote. It's a kind of generational task which we're involved in. Yeah, what drives that basic disparity, that basic unfairness, is I think an underlying inequality of power. That some people have power to decide what happens in their own lives, they have the power to decide what governments do, they have the power to influence, and other people have much less power, they're divided, they're weak, they're ignored. And so a lot of what Oxfam does is trying to get the people who are currently without power organised and able to express their voice and get more power so they can get better outcomes for themselves. So what's Oxfam doing to overcome these injustices? Never enough. It's a huge task. What we spend a lot of time trying to work out is where can our little bit of money and our little bit of action make a difference? Is it the international system, giving poor countries a fairer deal in the international system? Is it working with communities? Is it helping people who've been hit by natural disasters? We do a range of different things, but around that fundamental issue of tackling poverty and injustice. So the difficulties of this kind of task is, one, I think a lot of it, the difficulties are in people's heads. People think, oh, the poor will always be with us, this can't be achieved, this is a quixotic effort which is doomed to failure. And we say, no, that's what people said about slavery, that's what people said about votes for women. It can be done. So the first problem, I think, is psychological. And then the second one is it sometimes feels like we're running up and down escalator. There's been huge progress in the last 60 years in terms of health, education, life expectancy, unprecedented in human history. But now the problems are coming on thick and fast in terms of climate change in particular. And so we're worried that some of that progress will be reversed over the next few decades. I think there's that basic understanding that poor people know what they want, that poor people have opinions, but that they're not getting a fair chance to organise and express those opinions. So in the jargon, it's about agency. Can we help poor people build their agency? Can we help poor women speak out so that they're not beaten, for example? Can we increase women's agency in the household, poor families' agency in their communities, and poor communities' agency in their nations, in their countries? And that's the big shift. It's a kind of basic shift in power from the have powers to the have very little power. So I think a just future would be one where we study poverty in our history lessons. It's something that's come and gone, it's been solved, we can move on to other problems. It's like slavery, it's like votes for women, it's one of those things where you wonder why it took us so long to deal with it.